You're listening to The Professional Blur, a podcast hosted by me, Jason Klom. Welcome to The Professional Blur podcast. My name is Jason Klom. This is a podcast about extra work, background acting, and the trials and tribulations thereof, therein, whereto, and of, and about, and under, and around. My first guest for episode number 1 is Alex Salem.
Oh my God, where is he?
He's right there.
Oh my God, Jason, how are you?
He's you. I'm great. How are you?
He is fantastic.
That is delightful.
It's lovely to be here, Jason.
It's lovely to have you. Now, you were kind of, you and Urbaniak are my Paul F. Tompkins. Like, you guys have done almost every show that I have.
I want a t-shirt that I can wear that says you, but it's bracketed to like mean me, you know, because it's a quote with you've got to add the context.
Sure.
Me and Urbaniak are your Paul F. Tompkins.
Okay.
I want that on a t-shirt that I can wear.
That's a fair request. I mean, I can't turn that down. I don't really pay people for these shows, so I'll have to make you a shirt now.
Oh, that's beautiful. I was just imagining that to exist at some point.
Right.
If you now feel obligated to make that for me, I'm not going to stand in your way.
You're going to have to do one of my other podcasts to, like, round it all out, but then once that's done...
Well, all right, I guess.
I guess if I have... So, in case you guys can't tell, Alex and I know one another. I don't just invite strangers onto this show to talk about things. I did a lot of extra work. Exactly. I did a lot of extra work back in the day. I moved out to LA in 2003. Thought I would never do extra work, and then started to realize that money is hard to come by, or at least was in 2003, and I did a lot of extra work.
You have some very impressive professional Blur credits.
That is true.
That I've only learned from the occasional story you might have, but more often from your social media where you will have photos. And I don't know how you're going to go through your own canon.
I don't either.
This.
I don't know.
You could do one. You could pick a specific one to share.
Yeah.
At some point every episode, like you interview somebody else, and then it's like, and now here's the segment where I talk about me. And
I literally had thought about that, and then as I'm planning it out tonight, that you're coming in again. This is the first episode I'm recording as well. That was something I thought about a long time ago and kind of forgot that maybe I should do that. I mean, I don't think I'll run out of. Why would I run out?
No, but and though you know what it is, it's like when an actor hosts a show where they interview actors, or a comedian hosts a show where they interview comedians. I can't think of any of those off the top of my head, but those stories come out naturally.
Right. I'm going to make you eat hot wings in a minute, too, by the way, just to let you know. There's a lot of different things on this show. And then I'm going to have you unbox some toys. I'm trying to capture as many demos as I can.
I wasn't ready for that. That was good.
So why don't you tell people who you are? Like, I know you're an actor, but tell them what who you are, maybe generally how much extra work you've done. You can name a few things, whatever. Give us a general idea of who Alex Salem is while I hit my microphone.
I would love to. I appreciate that that the scope of this is defined to extra work, because
extra
that'll give
work
me,
or like 5 and unders. Like you've got some lines on stuff, and we're definitely talking about those.
Oh, we're definitely talking about.
Oh yeah.
No, I like that because it gives me something to focus on, as opposed to like, which is nice, which is a nice break from the general like, oh hey, hi, yeah. So what do you do? Oh, you're an actor. Oh, okay. So how's that going?
Yeah, where have I seen you? Would I have seen you in anything?
There's that, and then there's like the insider take where it's like, if you already know, it's like, oh yeah, how's your rep? How's your rep game? And like, and the answers, like, the first reflex in my mind is always like, it's abysmal, or whatever it is.
Fair.
It depends on the time, but it's nice to have a scope. So I'm Alex Salem. I'm an actor. I've been in LA for 10 years last month.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Since I came out here. I've done a little of this, a little of that, focused on acting primarily, done a myriad of projects. I'd say some of my greatest triumphs as an actor include some improv comedy, some sketch. I believe what you like lead or ensemble roles in 4 different feature-length web series, which is how I like to describe those, because it's like it's as much effort as an independent film. It's just we put it in chunks on the web for free, and I count Looking Forward 2016 as one of those.
Yay!
And The Drinking Game.
Yeah.
Indeed. Which is originally how Jason and I know each other.
Yes.
But, so as background, extra, or under 5 work, there are 4 specifically that I think we should discuss here. And honestly, Yeah, if I think of anything else along the way, great, but nothing else came to mind thus far.
That's fair. Well, let's do this. We will hit them as we get to them, but I do want to ask because I have a feeling I'm going to get similar but also very different answers to this. I want to know what your first time on a set was like, period. And it could be as a PA even, but, I want to know what your first time on a set was like.
I'm so glad you asked that, Jason. Thank you for the question. My first time on a set was 2004.
Okay.
There was a feature film that filmed in the city of Des Moines, Iowa, which is where I come from and where I grew up. And at the time, I was in between my sophomore and junior year of high school. The film was called Boone Style. Boone with an E at the end. Boone is the name of a town in Iowa, but also the name of the fictional family. The dude directing it, his name is Moss Gardner. At the time, I don't know if that's currently his name.
Okay.
I've not seen her. I mean, I met him briefly.
Okay.
He was like he was like I don't know how old he was, but he wasn't an old dude. He was like a mid younger dude. He was like a Gen X dude coming back to Iowa to film a independent ensemble feature comedy about a family reunion based on his family. He'd been living in LA. It was set in Iowa, like where he grew up. And I'm like, I get to be a PA on the last couple of days because my mentor at the time, she, my acting teacher, she was involved with the film. She's involved with, actually, I'm just going to shout out Kim Busby or her husband, John Busby. If you do anything film related in the state of Iowa,
they're involved.
They are involved.
Okay.
They're phenomenal. And so that was my first on set. Well, one short earlier that year with some friends. That was cool. But feature set, full set. I was a PA. I was given a walkie. I was 14 years old. I was very intimidated. I remember going to pick up like the pastries in the morning. I think it was for a set, like going on like my first coffee run. I remember going up to ask somebody asked me, "Hey, do you know where? Can you find out where such and such is?" So I don't know who anybody is on set, and I go and I ask somebody like, "Hey, do you know where such and such is?" And they look at me like, "No, but you got a walkie." I was like, "Oh, that's what this is for." Oh, that's so cool. And that was also the year that Garden State came out. So I distinctly remember hearing the Garden State soundtrack for the first time. It was before I saw the movie. So that's roughly what that time period is. A very special time period.
Sure.
For me.
For all of us, really. You were 14 at the time?
What I love about it is it serves in direct contrast to, let's say, the last 2 years of my life. I'm 31 now. When so in order to not work at a restaurant, I gotten back in the PA game because now I know what the hell to do, and I find that I actually can be pretty good at it. And sometimes it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, boy, had I PA'd at 14, the second somebody asked me, "Do you know where or who blah 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 is?" Tears would have run away, probably run out into traffic on accident, and I'd be dead. So I'm going to tell you, well done. You must have been a strong young boy.
I got there. I did it. Let's not say that like, haha, I vanquished, and then like from then I built a career I built my way up the ladder. No, I definitely had my running scared moments, namely the next several years or like however many years, and even in Hollywood thinking like, because I'm not a PA. And then years later when like I have even less work, like taking the exact opposite approach and being like, what if I like actively wanted to be a PA and like liked it? And then it's like, whoa. And then 2 years ago, I was a PA on, this is a little of a tangent, The Boy Band Con, the Lou Pearlman story, which was a YouTube premium original that it came out on YouTube last year. But I got to meet some NSYNC and some BSB just being a PA on that.
That's pretty great.
That was pretty tight.
Let's then, I'm realizing like my instinct for a second, again, we're exploring what this show is as we go. And if you're going to do that, have Alex Salem on the first episode of your podcast. Do you know why? He's chill as fuck and he'll help you find what you need to find. So I was realizing I was going to be like, so what's your history with acting and being funny? But we're not doing that. Let's not do that. We're going to jump right into This is all about you getting paid to act or pretend to act, which is extra work.
I'm digging it. But I must ask Jason.
Yes.
I appreciate you saying that about me. I love being chill. I'm very happy to be your first guest, the guinea pig, so to speak. Second time I've gotten to do that for somebody. It's so nice. And this time I'm sober, which I'm so looking forward to. But could you please conduct the rest of the interview in that voice? That would be hilarious.
This one?
Yes, this one.
Okay. Hi, Phil.
Hello, everyone.
You don't have to actually
I will not do that.
Thank you. Okay.
You know,
I
we
just
can do an
wanted
alt take for us later once we're done. Alt, by the way, for those who don't know, not in the know, means alternate. When you do one for you do one for the Hamptons. You know,
It's also an item on the keyboard.
Also
next to control
true.
an option.
Yeah, and then delete, and then
Do you know what the Mac equivalent of Control Alt Delete is?
I don't.
That's why me neither. That's why
Oh, okay. It was one of those.
I can never remember it when I need it. Mm-hmm. But
I'm sorry.
I look it up. I look it up all the time.
Every time?
Yeah.
Okay, I wish I could help you there.
Apple Shift. Keep going. Sorry.
Sure, no, you're fine. You're fine. Let's talk about, do you remember your first extra gig then? The first time you did extra work?
Yes. This was about a year or two later. I think it was the summer before I was a senior in high school, also in the state of Iowa. I don't know if you know this or not, Jason, but you know how right now there's sort of this like movement that's been happening for at least 5+ years at this point where people are like, oh, dude, I don't know about LA, man. Atlanta, you want to get to Atlanta? That's where the movies are shooting. Yeah, or like North Carolina, that's because of the tax break.
Where are these people from that are talking to you?
Do you know? I don't know who those people are. Like, in order to amalgamate those people,
okay.
I subconsciously chose to adopt the voice of Trip Markle, which is the character portrayed by Adam Grimes.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
I just always been impressed by that character and that voice.
It's
That
a great
voice is
accent.
So much
this
fun.
rural Vermont thing that none of us knew was a thing until Adam's like dips right into it. Like, whoa.
That's what was so fascinating. I was like, you just introduced like the world, or at least us, to an entire like type of person in this country that I'd never heard of before.
I wasn't planning on doing promo this far ahead, but I feel like we're going to leave people behind. LookingForwardMovie.com is a place where you can find my sequel mockumentary that Alex Salem is in and is a huge part of and was a great help in making happen. So
and heavily featuring Adam Grimes as Trip Markle.
Exactly.
Okay. While that was happening, as that was gearing up, Iowa had a good shot at that set. They offered that same type of tax break incentive, and had a good slate coming forward down the pike of, feature films that could come to Iowa, get a good tax break. There was one with Cillian Murphy and Ellen Page that I think did shoot, but I don't remember what it was called. There was something else, but at the forefront of, and eventually I think somebody in the, don't quote me on this. You know, I can't say for certain what did happen. Just somebody messed it up. Okay. I don't want to misspeak to what did happen.
That's fine.
Somebody messed it up.
Somebody.
It's been about 15 years since we filmed this. And at the forefront of this was a film called The Final Season. The Final Season is a baseball movie directed by David Mickey Evans, who also directed The Sandlot.
Oh.
And it is based on the true story of the 1991 Norway, Iowa, which is a small town in rural Iowa, baseball team. They were like the high school baseball team. They were a dope team, had this coach, this dynasty for many years. This coach, he was going to retire next year. No. They were closing the school. They announced like there's only one more year left of this school before we dissolve it into another school district.
Okay.
And so they get this. They hire a whole new coach. They had the same coach for the last like 20 years. I don't know what it is, but they hired some new hotshot coach from some other city, big city, or I don't know, to come in, and it's the story of like them learning to work together and like rally together, and even when like it seems hopeless, they came through, and I'm sure they won the whole,
of course,
whatever the champion. But the cast in this damn film, you gotta keep in mind, Jason, I'm 16, I'm 17 years old, I'm a high school student in West Des Moines.
Sure.
And
fresh
here,
out of debate class or whatever it was.
Basically, yeah. And here for about 1 or 2 days during that summer, we drove about, me and my best pals, in the, we were going to get in the film game. We were in the acting game. We did theater. We drove about 2 hours out. And mind you, I'd done already a couple of other film projects in between that first one I mentioned and this one by then. But it was Sean Astin as the hotshot new coach.
Okay.
Powers Booth, the late great Powers Booth,
All right.
as the veteran coach of the district, who he sort of takes on the advisor, assistant coach role for the rest of the thing. Rachel Lee Cook as Aston's wife, or another teacher at the thing who becomes his love interest. Tom Arnold as I forget.
All right.
But he was in it. Larry Miller.
Jeez.
Love Larry Miller.
Yeah, he's
got to
fantastic.
see Larry Miller that day.
That's
I didn't
amazing.
talk to him, but I don't remember what he was in the film either. And
You could play his son. We need to make that
let's
happen.
make that happen.
It's a thought. Putting it out there.
And other some great Des Moines-based actors that I knew from Des Moines theater and from growing up there were equally in the film. I want to shout out James Serpento, who co-directed one of the films, a film before that I was in, and Mike Cornelison, who has since passed, but he was a phenomenal actor that had an impact on me early on.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, are you kidding? This is what we need.
Great. But yeah, I got this is the final season, man. This was 2005, Alex. This was the shit. Michael Angarano is the lead of the kids in this film.
Okay, I don't know that name.
Did you ever see the film Sky High?
Oh, with our good friend Dave Foley.
No,
yes. I have not seen it.
He's the lead in that.
Oh,
and
okay.
I recognized him from that because that movie just came out a year or two before we went to do this.
That's huge for you.
I know him from movies.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
awesome.
Kurt Russell, Kelly Preston, Dave Foley. Are in that. Dave Foley. Angarano. Do you watch This Is Us?
Wait, have I? No. See, I'm the worst, right? I'm the worst. Once I stopped doing extra work, I just stopped watching
It's okay.
TV.
I don't watch
That's
This
not
Is
true.
Us either, but he's in that.
Okay. All right.
I didn't even think to rattle off my Angarano film credits beforehand.
Weirdly, I don't think anybody signed on for it, so I don't think they're going to miss it, but that's fine.
Are you sure, Jason?
I think so.
I don't want to let your audience down.
No, I don't think you will. What I'm curious is why you were now. Was this traditionally? So I say traditionally in LA or in New York, you go through usually central casting. There's a call. Do you fit it? You call in, and usually you're embarrassed because they're you're not good looking enough. They don't say it that way, but whatever. They don't give you the job, or you get the job and you're fine because they didn't care how good looking you were, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How is it done in the Midwest? Is there a casting agency, or do you answer a call online in the paper? What's the deal?
I'm sure there was a call in the paper, and I'm sure there was people who would physically you would physically call, or they'd get back to you with a voicemail or something. I knew about this because of, shout out again, Kim Busby.
Okay.
My acting teacher throughout high school. She also we turned that class into an improv group for a couple of years. We did short form improv, and she coached that. So,
awesome.
Yeah, she. I want to say she was also involved in that film. Just anything through the Iowa Film Office. Just knew about it. So yeah, again, shout out to my high school acting mentor and improv coach Kim Busby. Has the hookups on the Iowa film scene, and was involved with this film, this big to do. So we knew about it, and we knew kind of what we were getting into when we drove there.
What were you supposed to be? What were you playing?
I was playing people in the stands watching the baseball.
All right.
There were two prominent scenes I can remember, and I knew this years ago because it was the first big thing I'd been associated with. And like a couple of times I'd been on film before that independently. They were independent, and like I had I showed up more than 5 lines.
Oh, okay.
So they would not count as background.
Sure.
I think that film I was talking about earlier, Boone Style, where I was a PA, I think I showed up as I wouldn't be surprised if I was used as an extra at some point. But
okay.
I honestly don't remember.
It does happen a lot. Like a lot of people get wrangled into being extras or tiny parts on shows or movies.
So in the final season, I was people in crowd. I remember there was like one scene where like I could find myself later on. I was wearing an orange T-shirt, where like I showed up a little bit more, is because it's a practice. It's at like a team practice where they just put a couple of bodies in the stands, a little scattered.
Sure.
Earlier on in the film, during like team practice, and there's still a little bit of tumultuousness, if that is such a word.
Yep, that's a word.
Towards the new coach, played by Sean Astin. And then also, I think I was in a much larger crowd of people on another day, where that scene was, I don't know if it was the big game at the end, but it was one of. I think it might have been the big game. And I remember little bits of this scene and hearing the actors because they did it again and again and again, and seeing the director, and I'm like, oh my god, that guy directed The Sandlot, and then
awesome.
the AD giving direction and Sean Astin. But I'll wait until the order of your questions prompts me to go into that part of it.
No, fine. Go into it, man. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Sean Astin.
Well, no, I want to hear I want to see the order that you.
Well, I mean, this is generally it. I mean, if it's your first extra gig, I don't know if there's anything that surprised you or was interesting to you, because I mean, one of the things I remember learning, even though I'd worked in film sets, like in film school, like an 18-hour day with a bunch of your film school buddies, that's a different thing than watching a bunch of motherfuckers getting paid a ton of money to do big work.
That is a different thing.
Because
we'd done that by that point once or twice.
Yeah.
Like all day with some of your buddies. And it's just like, and it's great because it's before that you've all learned that each of you is going to have a thing that you just really freaking need to be the film to go in the project to like go in that direction, and you're gonna fight about it to whatever last stitch you need to make that happen, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
Now this was different because I still was like, I don't know how to, I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah.
I don't want to break the rules that I
sure.
can't even see. I go into, I remember going in to sit down, and one of my friends I was with, Jill Jones, she's now a fine documentary filmmaker.
Awesome.
I believe she's out in Los Angeles. I remember she brought with her a free reading book because we would be sitting on baseball stands, bleachers for most of the day. And I remember specifically it was The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver.
Okay.
It's like Forrest Gump says. It's funny how you remember some things and others you don't. Couldn't tell you why I remember the title of that book.
I mean,
I've never read Barbara Kingsolver in my life. But that's the paperback that Jill had on her that day. And everybody's walking past. Everybody's got a past 1991 blah, blah, appearance.
Right.
They never stopped asking everybody if they had 1991 appropriate period cars. They needed so many of those. By God. And this was 2005 too. So it's kind of funny to think about now, but it was like so cool then. So who am I kidding? It's only cooler now.
Yeah.
To think about everything's so 91.
Is it safe to assume that they didn't have that they were depending on you for wardrobe exclusively? They weren't going to fit you with something 1990s?
If I recall correctly, they had something. They had they had maybe one or two people and like a rack or something.
Okay.
And if you needed, but they asked you to Pretty much just nothing too flashy, nothing at all modern.
No logos.
And no logos, no stripes, yada, yada. And you're pretty much good.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, she got stopped by the AD to be like, is that book written before 1991? You know?
Wow. All right.
And the answer is no, but it's like, is that book really going to be seen
Is that
in the
going to be
shot?
seen?
It's a large
Absolutely
shot
not.
of bleachers.
Yeah.
And I'm walking past, out from one, like, holding building out to the set or something. And there's Larry Miller.
It's fucking
And he's
great.
just walking or something, and I think what happened, like, I still remember this. He was, I really think somebody had come up to him and was trying to talk to him to, like, say they were. I assume it was to say they were a fan.
Sure.
I didn't hear what it was. I have no idea what it could be. And at the same time, some crew folks were walking through, working or something. All I saw was a little snippet of Larry Miller saying, "Now hold on, these people are trying to work," like telling some other extras to, like, not be doing what they were doing, or they were rambunctious, or they were trying to talk loudly to him.
Okay.
While crew people were trying to work.
Yeah.
This is all the whole snippet that I saw as I was walking past. So, like, any ideas of going up and saying, "Oh my God, you're Larry Miller. Hi, I'm Alex Salem. I'm a huge fan," immediately went out the door.
Fair.
And I kept walking, and I was like, what are the rules of this place?
But you learned that lesson. Do you know how many times I've been on set where people don't learn that kind of lesson?
Yes. Over the years, yes. I've seen it since then in other capacities, yes. Also, just because I learned some great lessons on the set of the final season or Boone Style, my first film experiences in Iowa, doesn't mean I remembered them every day since.
That's fine.
10 years in Los Angeles and various assorted experiences.
You know not to steal people's time, though. I'm sure you know better.
I do know that.
See?
Sure.
And I'm sure you've learned it more since like you say, you've worked in restaurants where famous people who I would kill to meet come in all the time.
Oh, yeah. Do I tell you those stories?
You don't have to. This is here's the thing. It's about extra work. But you're actually you seem to think that I have an expectation that you'll one way or the other. If it comes up, it comes up.
I guess I was more curious. Like, yes, like I know my cool celeb restaurant stories. I was looking for a litmus test of how often am I that guy who keeps telling them all the time.
Oh, I see. No, you don't. No, you bring them up when you know it's somebody I'm going to care about. You've definitely done that.
I definitely do.
That's a kindness you do. That's a Salem
I'm glad.
kindness, a trademark Salem kindness.
TSM.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a thing.
Or K, trademark Salem kindness. I think kindness starts with
Why
a K.
did I think M?
Don't we do that all the time though? I don't, because there's an M in your last name.
TSK. Well, then it's just Tisk, Jason. That's
yeah.
trademark Salem kindness. No, go ahead.
No, you're fine. So you didn't know the rules, but how long do you think it took you to be comfortable on a set?
I'm
like
still
that?
not comfortable on a set.
No?
Well, like, I really appreciate that it's a job. Mm-hmm. And I think what it is when you start off, and for years even, who knows, I have a problem, even after 10 years in LA, I am still just as bad. Okay, not physically as bad, but I still have a terrible problem with being starstruck. I really do.
Is it a problem though?
Well, no, you're right. It's not. It's just like, I'm so tired of hearing. Well, no, I'm not tired. They should say it. They should live their truth. Mm-hmm. But I get uncomfortable when I'm listening to interviews, a million interviews, where like they're talking to famous people and they're like, "Oh, and when you started off, did you get starstruck?" And everybody's like, "No, I don't really get starstruck, except for one." And then they tell the story about that one. No, I don't care if I saw you as the third lead in a YouTube video in 2015. I'm going to be like, I can't talk to them. People probably go up to them all the time.
Right. That's my favorite shit. I love when people have such very specific, like, I'm not going to, I'll get her on the podcast one of these days if she's ever done extra work. A good friend of mine who is a real big name dropper of character actors that nobody's ever heard of, that she's only familiar with. And it's just like, I don't know who you're talking about.
I love that. Can you, without saying her, if you don't want to, can you tell me at least one you can think of a character actor?
I wish I could. It would be like,
heard them cite.
It would be like you or I going up to anybody and being like, "Hey, I just met Joey Slotnick, and then because we both love Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Wait.
I dropped his name the other day to somebody, seeing if they'd pick it up. They didn't, because he's a guy whose face you know, but who you may not know.
We should
at
least know the other notable thing people would know him from. You know his face. There's
sure, but he's in so much.
Is he in Road Trip?
I have never seen
No,
Road Trip.
I haven't either.
I couldn't tell you. Don't know.
I couldn't either. No, let's figure out what Joey Slotnick is in besides Pirates of Silicon Valley.
He's in that episode of Psych that references Pirates of Silicon Valley that I told you about the other day.
Oh, that made my day. That was great, right? I'm so glad that happened. You probably also told me about that at least once before.
I might
years
have.
ago,
and I didn't realize it. That I had already realized it. He's in an episode of The Office where Jim and Pam are trying to get a preschool, and Jim sees him on the toilet, in the children's toilet, because he can't lock the door for safety reasons, and it's very embarrassing, and it's very great. And he has the line, "Did you two ever consider that maybe you're not as charming as you think?" And it's one of my favorite lines on that show, because it calls out Jim and Pam for being too cutesy. It's kind of great.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's a great moment on that show. Love me some Joey Slotnick, but it's that level of other people might not know who they are.
My point is, it's like that game Botticelli, where you've got to you get the other person to guess the celebrity that you're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
The rule is they've got to be at least as famous or more famous than Botticelli. By those rules,
mm-hmm.
We're starstruck to a measure of Joey Slotnick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still feel that way when I'll see people, they'll come in. Yeah, I've always felt that.
Yeah.
I always feel that.
It's a good thing. It's to the point where I never know how to pose it. I wouldn't know how to pose this question. I can just tell you it happens to me. When I'm on a set, especially if it's a historical set, if I'm on Warner Brothers lot or Universal or Disney's lot, I still kind of get chills depending on where I am. I still I have the capability of getting chills if I realize, oh, this was shot here. Oh, this was shot here.
I don't know what, as you should. I get that way even not on a set or a studio, just different parts of LA.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Actually, I love that. It's I won't be there. There won't be a set filming or anything, but I'll be in the damn Dresden. That's a great example.
Solid, yeah.
Or, I was just, oh my God, a couple months ago, I went to I saw this for the second time in a theater. Los Angeles Plays Itself. Have you seen this?
No.
Have you heard have you seen this? Have you heard of this? It's, we'll talk. It's just a wonderful 2003 video essay. I believe his name's Tom Anderson. Tom with a THOM. Film professor somewhere. I don't remember. But it's this 2.5-hour video essay that's sort of the different ways in which Los Angeles has been filmed during the history of the city.
Oh, cool.
And it's all these, you see how many things shot in the Bradbury building all
in
a row. And really cool. So I feel that history everywhere in town. The Griffith Park tunnel and the Roger Rabbit scene.
Oh, yeah.
All that
every
stuff.
time. That's all I think of every time. And I feel like one of those is also used in Back to the Future, right? Or is it the same tunnel, or is it a different? Because do you remember the scene in Back to the Future 2 where he's trying to get the thing out of the back of the car?
He ultimately leaves the DeLorean is flying and
yes.
he grabs the...
Is that the same tunnel, or is it a different tunnel?
It's probably the same tunnel, but one's in Griffith, one's in downtown.
Okay.
Actually, no, you know what I always think of is the Bowl. Every time I'm at the Bowl, I think of three things. One, Python.
Sure.
Because I've seen that on film now. Two, I think it's the second season, episode 1 of Columbo. John Cassavetes plays the bad guy, and he's an orchestra conductor.
Okay.
So his office is the Bowl, and you see Falk walking through the audience of the Bowl during the daytime.
Love it. Yeah.
And you're just it's the same friggin' Bowl.
Great. It's great.
And then 3, that video where Keanu and Alex are announcing that there's going to be a Bill and Ted 3 from earlier this year. So it's a spectrum. It doesn't matter what era. There's always something cool.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Appreciate not getting so damn cynical that you can't love this stuff. There are times when I'm I hate being in LA, but then I'm When I was out here for my first month, my buddy Ray and I went to as many Back to the Future locations as we possibly could. I stole bark off the tree that George climbs to peep in her window. Stole some rocks from Doc Brown's house. All kinds of stuff like that. It was fun.
Oh yeah.
Right?
On my bucket list is to someday film something in Johnny's Coffee Shop, which is also affectionately known as Bernie's Coffee Shop. But I mean, you got American History X, Reservoir Dogs, and a pivotal moment of Lebowski all in the same Wilshire Fairfax.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that is, for those who don't know, a 50s-ish, 60s-ish, 70s-ish style, Googie style diner that was a diner that they shot in a lot, but now is exclusively there to be rented out for filming.
It is not a diner, but it still looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it was a great piece on it on somewhere on KCRW a little while ago, talking about how it existed as a filming location and was also a progressive political meetup space. I think it was one of the early episodes of Greater LA, that new show. I don't know how much of this you want to leave in. This sounds like a whole other podcast.
Here's the thing, Alex. If nothing else, this podcast is a love letter to Hollywood.
Fucking A. Love me some fucking Hollywood. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck.
I just had to say that. Should I say that once an episode?
You should say it like it's almost like Hollywood is a character itself.
The first character, of course, Pacino. And then blah, blah, blah. But, the third character, the real main character, is Hollywood. Hollywood itself.
If nothing else, this podcast is like a love letter to Hollywood. Because we can never have too many of those.
No. But sincerely, I do really like the history.
I dig the place so much.
It's great.
I wouldn't still be here.
Well, that's the end of the show. Kidding. There's so much more to talk about. So we've only talked about your first extra game.
And we haven't even finished it.
We haven't.
The best part.
Hit me. No, yes.
All
okay,
right,
the
so
best
we're
part's
sitting there
coming
on the bleachers. This is during watching the practice scene, not the next or the later
one that
day.
may or may
we're
not
watching
be
the
big
big game scene.
Right.
In between takes, who happens to be right in front of the bleachers, going to, just hovering near his first position other than Sean Astin himself.
Awesome.
And he just comes up to the group and he just says, "Thanks, you guys. Thanks for doing this. It's nice to have you. Appreciate you doing this." And people inevitably want to just ask him questions about the Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh, right, because
that had just
right
happened.
then. Oh my
God, that
was
was right then.
Yeah.
And he's just more than happy to talk about it. This is the first that I learned that. No, I gotta give my 16, 17-year-old self more credit. I think before that day, I think I did know that they just filmed it all in one go over the course of 2 years or however long it was. And I didn't just learn that then, but yeah. If I didn't, that certainly solidified it for me that was 2 years they were down there. And then
did he show you his tattoo?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But I don't remember. Do you know what his tattoo is?
It's something in Elvish that all of the nerds that were on that movie got together. All the stars.
Oh, that's tight. He could have. For all we know, from now on, for the rest of my life, when I go back and try to remember this one summer day in 2005, I will now remember that he did show the tattoo, whether factually he did or did not.
This is why memory regression works so well.
Yeah, right? It's great for like legal things and court transcripts.
Yeah.
And from then on, ever since, whenever I would see Sean Astin in something, which ever since 2005, for the most part, has just been Adam Sandler films.
Okay.
What did you say?
Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Way so recent.
That's right.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah,
damn
Adam
it.
Sandler films. You're right.
I was waiting for you. I was trying to get you to take the drink before I said Adam Sandler because I thought that might be a punchline.
He's jacked in that one, though. He's
is.
weirdly jacked.
He is. I always feel a special fondness. Like, that's my guy. He came to Iowa.
You should.
I do.
Because he talked to the extras. That's required.
It's not required.
Not required and not all that common. Like, and that's one of the weird things too about being an extra is like so often do you, and by the way, I'm going to say extra mixed with background actor, but extra's easier to say.
Were you about to say Backstra?
Backstra.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's like we're almost saying the title of that failed Rainn Wilson show, Backstrom, which sounded great on paper.
Sure.
From the creator of House.
Yeah.
Rainn
House.
Wilson is playing a hard-boiled PI in the Pacific Northwest, I assume. I don't know.
Yeah. It's Dwight Plays House is mostly what
It's
it is.
Dwight Plays House.
And I love Rainn Wilson. He can
Actually,
do many things, but it really did just feel like
that
Dwight
really
Plays House.
sounds like a season 7 episode of The Office title.
Very much
Dwight
so.
Plays House.
Yeah.
Would it be the old school like kids game house, or would it be like him trying to? You know what? We'll figure that out later. Good territory to mine
He
there.
diagnoses one of his horses with lupus. That's what happens.
The only cure is more beats.
Yeah, 100%. We just solved it. Great.
My favorite actor, Zazie Beats.
That's very stupid. But you'll hear stories on set like when I was on The West Wing once. Totally cut out of The West Wing, by the way.
West Wing once
West Wing once.
with Jason Klum.
Yeah. I met a guy. So I met two people on this set of The West Wing. The one day I was on there, one of them was like, "Oh man, if you're ever on here again, it's great. If you have lunch, because it was a short day, you have lunch. Martin Sheen will come. He comes and eats with the extras all the time. So apparently Martin Sheen was a big eat because he used to do extra work. So he would actually eat with the extras. So fucking that doesn't happen. That is
There is a
extra,
clear
extra level.
effing line.
Yep.
There is a clear
You're not supposed
line.
to sit with them. You're not supposed to. And he's like, "Fuck that. I'm Martin Sheen." So the two guys that I met on there were the very new stepfather of Ben from Golden Pains. Golden Pains?
Growing
Holy
pains.
shit. I just said Golden Pains like it was a thing. Growing Pains.
It was the one crossover episode between Growing Pains and the Golden Girls.
Yep.
And it's like, show me that friend, oh, thank you. Don't waste another.
And then what happens is Rue McClanahan gets in a lot of trouble because her and Kirk Cameron really hit it off because they're both horny.
There we go.
They thirsty.
Damn, that's pretty good.
pretty
I
great.
can't riff top that with the knowledge of specifics on both shows that I have to map together. I was gonna go for Alan Thicke and B. Arthur.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I'm now realizing though I should have saved that one for the second because the second person is a little more of a downer. This dude this is fucked up. He was one of the people who got anthrax in the mail when those anthrax attacks were happening.
No, you know somebody who that
I met a
Whoa.
dude and he came out, he quit everything and came out here. He's like, I'm going to try acting. And what's great is I meet him on the West Wing set. This is the last place you want to be reminded of. Why are you on the West Wing set?
Oh my god. Oh, so you're on West Wing set post 9/11.
Yeah. So this is like 4 years later. But this guy's like, the reason I'm out here is like I got one of the anthrax envelopes in the mail and I was just done with it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's fine. Obviously,
Wait.
but
What was he doing before?
he worked in some capacity either at the White House or in some other.
So that's where it was sent. Like, as you're saying
That
this
was
now,
when
I'm like,
DC they got
how
a lot.
many of those did they send? Did they send him to like a bunch of people, or like there was just?
That's a good question. I'd have to look it
know.
up. But he was in one of those offices and it must have been the dude who opened it or something. It really broke the dude.
Jesus.
But he's healthy, nice guy.
Good. Good.
So
Glad to
anyway.
hear it.
That's just one of those weird sets of stories.
Show me that smile again.
Show me that smile.
Thank you for being a friend.
Ba-ba-dum. So, what about what's the next one you want to talk about? You got 4 that are very important. Well, your first one is not part of the 4, is it?
No, that was the PA thing.
You said you got 4 that you want to talk about specifically.
No, the final season was one of the 4. But while we were just talking about that, you said something about the thing about Martin Sheen eating with the extras.
Yes.
Reminded me of a 5th thing, which is very, very relevant to this discussion.
Go for it.
Shucks. What order do I want to do? No, chronologically. Let's go friggin' chronologically. Which
Let's
means
do it.
A comes before B.
Yep.
Which means C comes before A.
Alex is doing alphabetical, but he understands what's going on.
Yeah, I think I got an order.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Hit me with it.
So, after getting inundated enough in the Iowa film scene, burgeoning at the time, it leveled off while I was in college in Boston. I was in Boston for about. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel it's my obligation as a as a worthwhile broadcaster to let you know that Jason has some. He just needs to relieve himself of some phlegm or whatever comes out when you cough. He just needs a moment. You need some agua?
Okay. No, I've been drinking. Do you see how much I've had?
Yes.
Maybe
but it's flu season.
Overhydrated.
I learned on the radio today it's flu season.
Oh, but
feel free to duck into mine. I took a little bit extra time. I was in the car for a while on the way over. I took a little extra time though to stop and get a fresh coffee before I got here. This is not one that I had for my drive. I knew I would need it because I was getting no sleep.
Sure.
Yada yada. But and you know I the only one nearby is in beautiful downtown Burbank. Where parking is, but I was blessed. I jumped right in. My point being, help yourself to the water that you designated to me.
Sure.
I don't need all of it.
Maybe I shall.
2010. I've made it out to LA after college. I wasn't quite into the acting thing yet.
Oh, really?
It's not what I studied in college. I didn't. It was.
You went to Emerson.
I went to Emerson, and it was an audition program to get into the theater. To the acting major, and I was not selected.
Interesting.
Not gonna lie, crushed my friggin' audition. My folks and we had to go from Des Moines to Chicago, which is a 5-hour drive, but we have cousins there, so it's all good. But that was the closest national place that they went to do this. So I went and I did that. Like, we drove out there just so I could go to like this hotel conference suite one afternoon and audition. Do like the pre-year audition to be like, if you get admitted to the school, this is to see if you get admitted to study acting.
Okay.
And I did not, but I got admitted to the school, so I studied literature. Which is, I will do that again every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I'm talking about if I had to do it all over again. I'm very happy that I did. It was tight. It was tight. Anyway. So I thought I'd be in a writing track, and I spent my first year out here kind of thinking that. And I did get into UCB pretty early, though. But it was a full year before I got into an acting class through a friend of mine, and sort of realized that was my jam. And I'm glad it happened, too, because 2 months after I got into that class, and that first class invigorated me, that's when I jumped on the casting sites and started submitting for things. And, like, the first ever thing that, like, first or second thing I went that like I auditioned for and got was a small comedy play at the Next Stage where I met the director of that play, Brett Schlank.
Okay.
Our very good mutual friend.
Yes.
With whom that had not happened, you and I would not have met after
So
that.
wait, by the time I met you, you had not been like
I was about 2 months in.
Wow.
Yeah, about 3 months in.
Sorry for my Owen Wilsoning, but wow. Wow.
Well, that's okay. I'll be Luke.
Harder to do. Harder to do, Luke Wilson.
Boy, I'll say. These are OR scrubs.
Oh, are they? Such a dumb joke.
You
but
did
I've always
it.
Liked
you did it, Jason.
I've always liked it. It's a good joke. That's amazing. I didn't realize that by the time we met. All right, that's weird.
So the relevance to all of this background experience was in the late spring of 2010. I still wasn't in acting mode, but I had been a ways into UCB. Actually, maybe it was more like March. I don't know. I had taken UCB 101, and in my UCB 101 class that year was a very funny, very talented gentleman by the name of Anders Holm. And I later learned that this was in the period where Comedy Central had already learned of the Workaholics guys and their videos and put together a pilot and was interested and had greenlit a first season of the show that we now know as Comedy Central's Workaholics.
Sure.
But at this time, like, I didn't know any of this, and like spent most of the 8 weeks of that class like, oh, this guy was funny, and like everybody was pretty funny, and two of those guys in that class later, I remember they had guest stars in the same episode of The Office.
Wow.
At the end of it, Anders and I had hung out like one time. We went and saw a show there, which funny enough was actually this pilot that Tom Lennon and Ben Garant had done that year that they wanted to do it multicam. but they wanted to improvise it.
Yes, I remember hearing about
this. The Strip. It was called The Strip.
Yeah.
So they didn't film it in front of an audience.
Dave Holmes was on that show, if I remember correctly.
Oh, was he?
I think so.
Okay. So they screened the pilot in the UCB theater in like a secret midnight show, and we consented for them to record our response to like put a laugh track in.
Okay.
And it was funny because that was like one of the only shows Durs could go to, and needed to do it for like the required shows you're supposed to go to complete a UCB class.
Oh, okay.
Only like that didn't end up counting because it wasn't an actual improv show.
Right.
He was like, I don't know what to do. This is just when I can go. I'm working the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And but he had just jumped back in to take the UCB 101 to sharpen the chops back up before they hit the shooting schedule really hard. But it was barely a few weeks after we finished that class that they had begun shooting, and they started with reshooting episode 1.
Okay.
As part of a whole thing. And they needed extras. So he sent out a thing to our email list from that UCB class. And me and another guy, his name is Alex Kavitsky. I seen him do a bunch of stuff at Channel 101. Writer, director, performer. And we were the only ones who went and did that day. And so in the very first episode of the very first season of Workaholics, in the very first scene, I am a featured background.
That's awesome.
It's fucking awesome.
That's
what
amazing.
It is.
Explain. You know what? This is our first episode. Explain what featured background is.
It means featured background is a word that you use when you were background or more than, where you can say like, no, but you can see me.
Yeah.
Or no, but I do something. Like I'm in the thing. Like I'm in it. Like I can say I'm in it. I don't have a line. But you know me. Like I would call my favorite example is now a very recent example that I wasn't familiar with before. But you and I just did a live stage reading performance of the film Scream from 1996. The scene in the video store where Randy and Stu are talking, and Randy's shouting his crackpot theory that everybody's a suspect, or he's going off the rails a little bit. And you can clearly see this woman in the aisle behind him staring blatantly at him, but she's blurred because it's focused on the foreground. And she like stares at him, and halfway through him talking, she just shakes her head and leaves the frame. And like,
so good.
Like she's blurred, but you can clearly see her. To me, that's a quintessential featured background.
Does she feel directed, or do you think she just went and made a decision and it didn't stand out too much so they didn't cut her out?
Jason Klum.
Yeah.
I am going to charge you right now. If you will accomplish anything with this podcast, The Professional Blur.
You want me to get her on the show?
I want you to get to the bottom of that. I want you to, because I want to know the exact same thing. Do we ever know?
No, we don't.
Were you directed to do that? Or are you just some precocious, no fucks given hero who's going to be told by some frustrated AD not to fucking do anything, and then you're not going to help but seize your moment? If you can act just enough, if you can do such a good acting, are you going to get pulled on stage like Courtney Cox, who's also in that movie? That's the real...
It's a fine line to walk, Alex Salem. It really is. And I'll tell you, I've crossed it way too many times.
No such thing. No such thing as too many times.
Oh, my God. That's phenomenal. Well, now I'm going to have to check that out because I've never really watched Workaholics, but now I'm going to watch it for you.
Very first scene.
That's fucking phenomenal.
I can give you the synopsis of it if you want, or we can come back to that later.
We can maybe come back to it later because I want to know what else, because that was your bonus. So let's talk about... Let's talk about it.
No. That's one I knew. The bonus is coming.
Oh, the bonus is coming. Okay, great. That's fine. Yeah. Let's hear it. What else? What else have you done? Where would I have seen you?
Where would I have seen you?
Where would I?
All right. What are we doing here? All right. Oh, watch out!
You want me to be a spy? What is this?
Apparently, you can't be president with a whole brand. All right. How you doing, it man? Today is, what's today? Monday?
Yeah.
Fun fact, I was an extra in this one. I really liked for a couple of reasons. I was just feeling in a good mood. But you know how like you'll get an email from a friend or like somebody you once were in an improv class with 3 years ago but haven't spoken to since. They're like, hey, we need background tomorrow for a shoot.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll throw you $50 for a few hours or for 12 hours. Who knows? Or, you know, or like it'll just be one of the, I don't even know what to do with these anymore, but like you'll just read it like where they're genuinely offering you copy, credit, meal, and an opportunity to network with some great people. And you're just like, see, I love that because like there's a period in time where you need to do that.
Sure.
And not to say like anyone, it's like a lotto ticket almost. Any one of them could still like lead to something
for sure
if you want. But it's like just like after several years, you just cannot get enthused about that.
No.
So I think it was an email more or less to that effect from a friend of mine from college whom I'd done a play with, I think out here by then.
Okay.
But also knew from college. And it was a friend of hers was producing this short film that she had written and she was directing and also starring in. And I went to be an extra in a scene that took place on Yom Kippur in a temple. And I was raised Catholic. So I rather enjoyed wearing a yarmulke and being inside of a temple and watching a real rabbi playing a fictional rabbi delivering a Kaddish.
That's awesome.
It was tight. The woman starring in, producing, and writing and directing the film, her name is Rachel Fleischer.
Okay.
And her father is Charles Fleischer.
Holy shit.
The voice of Roger Rabbit.
Holy crap.
That was one of the perks on her Indiegogo campaign to fund that short that I found later is like for a certain tier, you could get the voice of Roger Rabbit on your voicemail.
I mean,
I was like, that's...
come on.
I mean... Please, Eddie. I can't do it, but like...
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's good. No, it's better than I can do it.
But only when it was funny.
That's amazing. That's so good.
That was
Were there
tight.
any specific anything happen on other than that kind of awesome experience of like this weird cultural like shift for you, or is anything else on set?
Right, that was tight. You know what the thing I remember is like I'm sort of like trying to jump into a conversation in the row ahead of me. And what it is somebody's talking about the composer Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
And they're making an aside comment about how like he doesn't really do any of his own writing.
Okay.
Like his people do.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just remember asking about that, like, oh, is that a thing? And I remember this because the guy looked at me and genuinely was confused. Like, are you joking? Is that a joke? I was like, no, I don't know shit about the world of being a composer. I'm not a musician.
Right.
He was like, oh, you're asking a question. I don't know. It was so like.
It's amazing.
I was like, it was a very bizarre situation, but I think we found communication afterwards. So I remember that exchange happening that day.
I have some good memories of like shoots that I've done for just a meal. But to be fair, they've been a little like, I got real picky about them later on. Like once I had a full-time job and wasn't doing extra work for money anymore. Yeah, it becomes a thing. It's like, if this is something super cool, I'll do it. Sure. You know,
right.
I'll do
Like
that for
there
free.
is some fun things like that where it's like, hey, I need you to just come out. It's just for this. I just need bodies, yada, yada. Oh, shucks. I finally remember the next thing I was an extra in. Okay, so I have 2 bonuses.
Okay.
They're both coming.
Okay.
Both coming.
Hit me
But
with the
one
next
of them is that. Like there's a fun thing to it. Okay. So the first bonus, which was the first one that I remembered. Technically, I was the lead in this project.
Okay.
But this project was the only national commercial I've ever booked. The only commercial I think I've ever booked. It's non-union. It was advertising the search engine Bing.
Amazing.
Bing! First shot right out the box. Which is what I think of every time you do a Tobolowsky impression. And the premise of the commercial is that there are these 3 friends, I'm one of the 3 friends, talking to each other using the search engine Bing. There's a chat function.
Oh boy.
which was just brand effing new in 2012. I mean, you gotta put yourself in the shoes, Jason. This whole experience was just so effing mind-blowing.
I mean, the world's been taken over by Bing since, so I mean, I can't even imagine a world without it.
I remember. I was there. Three friends are chatting with each other via Bing. One of them says, hey, what are movie show times? Any of you cats want to check out a movie? I don't think they said cats. That's me saying
that's your
Anybody want to check out a movie? And then one of the other friends says, nah, forget that. There's a movie shooting in town. Let's go be in it. And this commercial, in 30 seconds, you watch the three of us arrive on a set, go to makeup, wardrobe.
What the fuck?
We're getting like chainmail and broadswords and helmets and shiz. And it all culminates in a scene being filmed like for a movie or pretty much Game of Thrones, where it's like some medieval style army charging. But you watch the three of us, like the commercials watching the three of us go to set and get dressed up to be an extra. So the title of the spot was called Bing: Extras.
What the living shit?
I played a lead role in a spot where the character was a background actor.
That's phenomenal. I mean, it's the most meta shit you could.
I got my name on a trailer.
You did
To play an extra.
That's fucking great. Holy shit! How long of a shoot was this?
One day.
One
Single
day. Yeah, I had a
in
feeling.
beautiful Simi Valley, California,
yes.
up in this space.
What was the meal like? Do you remember?
It was good.
Yeah.
Oh no, you know what I remember is it had breakfast too. It had the breakfast burritos. It had like a catering thing of the breakfast burritos.
I weirdly love set breakfast.
Yeah. I mean, except for when it's like, here's like one bag of Sara Lee and no bagels and no toaster.
Fuck that. Well, here's okay. I do actually have a very. This is weird, but my dad used to teach CPR at a hospital, and when classes were over, we would get the leftover chewy, shitty bagels, and I have a thing. Like I love shitty, chewy bagels.
I get you.
So those are
Respect.
cool, but on a set, yes, a breakfast burrito or even those weird ass eggs that have been sitting in that sterno over that sterno forever.
Where it's like it's comparable to like the texture of eggs from a hotel continental.
Yeah, but I weirdly like it.
I know what you mean. It's just the fact that I had breakfast that day.
Yeah.
And then also burrito is mobile.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Which is very helpful for a working environment. Mm-hmm. So yeah, had a boatload of fun.
Is this commercial on YouTube?
I was able to find it for like a year or two. Mm-hmm. Please try looking it up if you want. And I mean, we can pause at any time and look up anything you want to, so we can react to it.
Well, I'm definitely gonna look it all up.
But yeah, like
we can put clips
2012 Bing: extras.
So good.
Bing commercials. Bing YouTube channel. It certainly was up. I don't know if it still is currently.
Remarkable.
I have a very pixelated copy of it file that was ripped years ago, so I could put it in a reel. Mm-hmm. But like I have like just this collection of like little clips now that I'm like, this wouldn't go in a reel,
right?
This just wouldn't. Yeah. Around the same time, speaking of an under 5, technically it's an under 5. I only bring it up because it's just so much fun to talk about.
Sure.
A gentleman, a good friend of mine. She was beginning a career as a casting director at the time. So she was like doing independent casting. Her name's Rose. She's since taken off and switched careers. But she found this gig where she was casting this short that was going to be this full web series that was basically what they're now doing with HBO for the Game of Thrones prequel.
Oh.
It was it was just an independent fan adaptation of The Hedge Knight, which they called Dunk and Egg. Hedge Knight taking place 80 years before the events, being the story of a very young Aegon Targaryen who was affectionately known as Egg.
Okay.
I played Egg's older brother, who was technically, they were Targaryen princes, you know, and he was perpetually drunk on wine because he was perpetually tortured by dreams and hallucinations of terrible things because of messed up Targaryen past, blah, blah. I didn't get that far into it. This was very early on in the show, so I wasn't full on into it yet. But again, in beautiful Simi Valley, California, they had converted these this farm area, some backyard on a property into a dope-ass period-appropriate tavern.
Awesome.
They had it all set up, and it was cool. It was 2 nights. First year I knew you, that's why I had yellow hair. They tried to dye it blonde because it's the thing, but it turned out yellow on my head, and it just sort of looked like that weird for a little while, and it was still like that in that Bing commercial. Yeah, again, like I technically wound up with like a line in the amount that we shot, and there was like a minute, maybe a minute and a half that ever got edited and torn out. But a year or two later, tragically, the gentleman directing it, one of 3 gentlemen producing it, passed away at a very, very young age.
Okay.
So they were never able to finish it, and it was just the pilot. But the guy playing Egg, technically my younger brother, his name is Owen Teague. He went on to star in Netflix's Bloodline and an upcoming movie starring opposite our mutual friend Libe Barrere.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Hollywood, man.
That is Hollywood, my friend. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay.
I'm cruising here, but stop me anytime with stuff you want to follow up on.
No, you're good. I had a question that I forgot it, and I'm going to write down, not to include that I forgot it in here.
But you can
cut that out.
Oh, that's what you're. But you can stop me and be like, I want to follow. Stop me there. I want to follow up here.
Mm-hmm. No. We're good. No. This is all good stuff. This is all. I'm going to be asking you.
I'm writing this down. This is good stuff.
I do want to know. This is just that I might not even leave this in. I'm more and more hearing under 5, but I swear people used to say 5 and under. I'm sorry I hit your foot. Is it never been called 5 and under? Did I just misremember it, mishear it?
I assume it's still currently you can call it both.
Can you?
I'm assuming.
As long as I'm not saying it wrong, because I don't want to leave that in.
But I don't know. I've been SAG eligible since 2011. Oh, speaking of 2011, this is another one I hadn't prepared. I've only got 2 more.
Hit me.
Yeah, I'm just giving you all of it. I'm giving you all of it, baby. I'm giving you all of it, baby.
Good shit.
Something I thought would be fun to talk about is the time I was an extra in my own web series.
Okay.
2010, I'm an extra on the set of Workaholics. And before this is big, I think to myself, this is really cool, isn't it? But I'm noticing, isn't the premise of like all situation comedies just that they're friends and they hang out? Like most things you think of that you like the premise is more or less they're friends and they hang out. At least this is how I felt in 2010. I was like, I need more. What if there was more to the premise? What if they were friends and they hung out and they were wizards? Also, I have just been running with the concept ever since. I still have so much more I want to do with that exact concept.
You should.
My friend Pierce O'Toole and I started cracking on a web series at that time. 2011, a year later, we shot it, and it's all up there now. We did do a whole season. But in one scene, the character goes to see another character at a stand-up comedy club. And like he and I are the 2 leads, but we're following his character. And so I was an extra in the stand-up comedy club because we only had like 8, maybe 10 bodies.
Yeah, that's rough.
We needed to fill it out. It was great because our friend Matt Lieberman plays the MC of that comedy club night.
Love it.
That clip's in there. And my friend Dan Perrault, co-creator of American Vandal, is also in there.
Wow.
We'll say this. Leave it in. Don't leave it in. It's kind of the nature of this type of discussion. But it doesn't hurt that I'm already a guy who loves to name drop. But that's happening. But so I'm just going to unabashedly do it.
That's okay. I mean, that's going to happen a ton. Especially when I mean, that's why I'm doing this. That's not true. But it is fun to, I get excited when I know people who have done good stuff. That's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's why you are my first episode.
Great.
You've done great things.
Which is so lovely of you to say that and to call me up to do this, because like when you were like, I'm doing professional bird podcast, love to have you on sometime. I'm like, oh great, that'll be fun. I'll sit down. We'll talk whenever we get to it. But for you to be like, no, you're a perfect guy to do the first one with. I'm like, because you've done great things. I'm like, oh, shit. When somebody else says it, like the voice in my head can't disagree. Mm-hmm. You know,
It's fine.
like well, it does and it will, but like it has a harder time arguing because like it's a different person saying it.
Yeah.
So that's really nice to hear.
Of course.
Yeah. Again, anything you want to know, you stop me. Otherwise, I'll just keep going.
No, we're good. Hit me.
2012.
Because we still haven't literally gotten to the show's one segment, so it's all good.
Welcome to the Professional Blur. I'm Jason Klum, the show with one segment.
Yeah. My other shows don't, and that's why nobody listens.
You know, the great thing about having one segment is you always can schedule the break to come right before that one segment.
Very true.
2012.
Now it's time for a break.
No.
Kidding. 2012.
Let's see. Actually, no, shucks. Okay. Most of everything I've gotten to so far happened in 2011, except the Bing commercial was in 2012.
Okay.
2013, in 2013,
Yeah.
February, that was when I had the most pivotal and favorable in my career on a television program. Why did this happen?
Don't know.
Not when did this happen or how, but just why.
Why? Sure.
A television program you may know as ABC's Grey's Anatomy.
Yes.
Paul Dawson, 45, restrained driver with major intrusion into his area. The vehicle bruises to the chest. BP 90 over 60, pulse 120.
I was hoping that was the next one. Good. All right.
And now we'll take a short break.
Hit me.
I got to be on the Grey's Anatomy set for a day
Yeah.
and play a paramedic. Scene happens in the first 7 minutes of the episode 19 of season 9.
Yeah.
Title of the episode is Can't Fight This Feeling. It's the last 2 minutes leading up to the end of the first act or the first commercial break, where at the beginning of the episode is revealed that there was a large oil tanker crash, collision, spill, and we watch the whole team come out to the ambulance bay and see them watch not one, not two, but 4 ambulances all file in one right after the other, which means you need 4 technically 8 paramedics, because, 4 different paramedics jumping out of the back of each one.
Sure. One to drive, one to screw in the light bulb. I don't know.
One to drive, one to write this joke. There were 4 paramedics. There was literally paramedic 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was number 3. But there was oftentimes 2 in a ambulance, because 2 of the paramedics, myself and another woman, had gotten to this game as actors, but then 2 others, paramedics 2 and 4, were actual paramedics.
Okay,
who had
they
been
do that a
called
lot,
who had gotten into enough to know the thing that they could just call them, and so legally they could touch the stretchers. Legally, I could not touch the stretcher because there is an actor on the stretcher.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I didn't either until that day, and now I do.
You have an uncharacteristic mustache. Not normally a mustache.
Did you go look it up? Did you go watch it before this?
Oh yeah.
Was it fun?
Yeah, it's great.
I don't know why I had the gosh darn mustache.
Really?
I was
Wait,
filming...
that was your choice, not something they asked you to do?
For some reason, it was weird enough that they let it through.
That's phenomenal.
I don't know why they let it through.
Okay, all right.
In hindsight, I wouldn't have let it through. Like if it were me now, or if I were them, even if I were them then, I wouldn't have let it through.
It does stand out.
But all I did was just show up, and I just did what anybody told me and didn't do what anybody didn't tell me.
Okay.
And it does stand out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I had longer hair. I had shoulder-length hair at the time, and I was halfway through filming a web series with my good friend, written and created by my good friends Kyle Morrison and Max Kessler, and it was called Wingman Purgatory. That's still all over YouTube. The channel's name is Wingman Purgatory TV. That I'm still fucking proud of. That was we had a boatload of fun. It stars me, our friend David Dickerson, my good friend David Dickerson, and Andrew Batchelor, affectionately known online as King Batch.
Okay.
The most followed person ever on Vine.
Interesting.
Which happened later that same year.
Wow.
Wow. Well, that's very right, Owen. Sorry, that's Nick Cage. I already did a Nick Cage impression.
It's all good.
Today.
It's all good.
But the thing about Grey's Anatomy was I got to do it. No, so I had to get my hair cut for it to be the paramedic.
Yeah.
And it fucked with continuity on the web series. So we just figured it out.
Uh-huh.
But it's funny to me, like that's always why I'll have like in that web series longer hair and then have it cut. The reason, I guess, is because I didn't really audition.
Interesting. That I didn't know.
Do you know why I was on Grey's Anatomy, Jason?
No, I don't.
You're not going to believe this.
Secret love affair with Sandra Oh? No? Okay. I just thought I'd...
Let's not joke about things that could still happen.
Okay, I'm sorry. Never mind. You're right.
Or maybe let's, if that's how you put law of attraction, how you put it out.
Put it out there, yeah.
I got very fucking lucky. Because, you know, have you ever had like a family member, a relative hit you up at a holiday or something and be like, you know, my cousin is out in LA. He's working on, you should, I'll give you his number. You should really call him up. Well, basically, ipso facto, it was one of those.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. A friend of my dad's old pals with the gentleman who works. He worked camera team a long time on the show, and had also been directing some episodes. And when an episode that he was directing came up, I had contacted him by that point. He basically just reached out to me and said, I have this if you'd like to do it. I said, are you fucking kidding me?
Right?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's exactly what happened.
That's great.
It was I couldn't believe it. Sorry, I'm trying to remember somebody's name because I don't want to get it wrong.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Anyway, so I had an audition, so I hadn't met casting, so you know, like I received like a call from production or something the day before, something, and no notes on hair or whatever.
Okay.
So or I'd been told to get it cut short, but that was it. So I just showed up with the mustache, and that's just what happened, man.
I don't know.
I even gone to a fitting. I think I gone to a fitting. Yeah, I think I have a picture of me in the fitting the 2 days before. And I still have the long hair. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I was pretty much there for one day, and it was pretty much a perfectly like 7 or 8 a.m. call, and I was literally done at 5.
Okay,
it
that's
wasn't
nice.
like it was lovely. It wasn't like I'm sure they kept going.
Sure.
But just those 2-page scene that took the day.
Yeah.
It was a great day.
How is everybody you had to interact with? You are in the scene with Sandra Oh, right? It is Sandra
I
Oh.
am.
Yeah,
I'm talking directly to Sandra Oh and Kevin McKidd, Christina and Owen in the show.
Sure.
I made a faux pas. I should have just stayed talking to Sandra Oh the whole time because that's when my face is most directly facing camera. But instead, I kept turning back and forth to both of them because I'm like, what would he be really doing? And really, no. I'd just be talking straight. Did you keep the camera, the face stationary? Because otherwise it's distracting. It's fucking distracting. You all messing with my scene. But yeah, I'm mostly talking to Sandra Oh and Kevin McKidd in the scene. And then you go back there to like the green room. And there's like a holding area. This is at Prospect Studios in Silver in Los Feliz.
Okay.
It's historic. Another historic location.
Yes.
I learned later what they shot there, and I forgot it before today, so I don't remember. But
yeah. I mean, it could be all the way back to silent shit since that's where it all started. Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, but they've been, and it's funny because I live only a hop, skip, and a jump from Henson.
Yeah.
Which is historically Charlie Chaplin. But they have. I'm there. I'm in the back, and the majority of the main cast is in this opening scene. And so they're there that day, and there's a very clear line between co-star and background.
Uh-huh.
Because they have goodness knows how many people that just need to be dressed in scrubs, dressed in doctors' coats, walking around that place, sitting here, sitting there, hanging out, and they're just there, and it's a gig, and they maybe some of them have gotten to do it long time. Mm-hmm. So I'm dressed in paramedic scrubs, and I'm walking around, and there's lots and lots of other extras there, and I don't know exactly where I'm going, and I'm about to be told by a PA or somebody, what are you doing back here? You can't be back here. You have to go over there, like with the other extras. If it weren't for the other paramedic I was working with, of the other 3 paramedics, the one who was also an actor and not a paramedic / actor, but an actor playing a paramedic. Her name is Grace Rowe. She's very nice. She had already played a paramedic on the show once or twice before, and told me, no, we're cast. Like we're cast.
Yeah.
So we can go back here. Come with me. She takes me into the fucking green room or the holding. I don't know,
whatever.
But like, I had seen the show.
Yeah.
I watched about the first 6 seasons. Like,
McDreamy,
roughly in the 6th year of the show. Then I stopped and I hadn't picked it up, and then 3 years later I was there. Bailey. The chief, the main guy, the head guy. I forget his name.
Couldn't tell you.
But obviously there's no Katherine Heigl. There's no Isaiah Washington. There's no the guy George. The guy who plays George. I don't remember his name. His first name is 2 initials, but he wasn't there either.
J.J. Abrams.
But E.G. Daily.
That's who it was.
Tyne Daly.
Tyne Daly. Wait. Sorry, were you an extra on... damn it, I can't remember.
Wings. You're going to say Wings.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't an extra on
Okay.
Wings. They kind of look alike. What? No, the woman who plays... The actress who plays Bailey. A gentleman who was new to the show who played... he was big in Friday Night Lights, but I've never really seen Friday Night Lights. I just heard this, but he was new to the show that year.
Okay.
I remember because he was asking some of the main cast if anybody had a good dentist because he was just getting used to living in LA now.
Okay, yeah.
But Kevin McKidd and Sandra Oh. And I'll never forget this. This was very clearly the day. This was a Monday morning, and the Sunday night before were the Oscars that year.
Oh, okay.
This is in early February, maybe late January. Because Joaquin Phoenix had just won for The Master.
Oh, okay.
Because I think he won. But it was that year. And I had not seen the damn movie. I don't even remember if I watched the damn Oscars. But that's what Sandra Oh wanted to talk about, how breathtakingly amazing that performance was. And it was so nice because even though I hadn't seen the movie and all, I really had to contribute. By the way, I'm sitting there frozen. I have nothing to contribute to this conversation. I'm like all of my processes are like manufacturing overtime. Like if for the love of God, there is even a shred of relevant information that would be new to this conversation that you could possibly provide, we're going to fucking plumb the depths until we find it, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And all I can say is, I haven't seen The Master.
Well, it's honest.
God, Sandra is the best. She's just like, Alex, you've got to. It's fantastic.
That's phenomenal.
It was lovely.
Yeah, it's those nice little touches. That's
she said she her and Kevin McKidd later on, like I said goodbye to Kevin McKidd when I think I knew I was like, Kevin, appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I was like, what was your name again, man? Alex. Right? And Sandra Oh was like, she had forgotten if I'd already been there before. I was like, I got the impression I did okay with my medical jargon. And I'm not going to lie, it was fun doing it.
Sure.
I liked that it was challenging and I could figure it out.
I always wonder how people handle not only that, but Star Trek, fake jargon.
That's got to be even better, man.
Right. Like if it's a real mouthful, I don't know. It's got to be satisfying once you finally nail it.
I got there at 7 or 8 in the morning. I'd already been 3 years into the same acting program at that point. So I had a bit of a process for this. And what I knew was there was going to come a time where you've got to sink or swim. And I knew the only thing there really is to do is just make sure you never, ever, ever, ever stop running it so that you are always as sharp as you could possibly be.
Fair.
This is the only way to even possibly satiate that worry, that dense worry that overtakes you of like, oh my God, I hope I don't fuck it up. Because one of those paramedic actors, he did. Like, you all get in, we all have done it. We get in a riff where it's like, fuck, like you bust 3 takes in a row at your line at the same part because there gets a groove created in the brain and you start psyching yourself out. Happens to everybody. And when it did happen, everybody was totally professional. Everybody was like, hey, happens to everybody. But you're kind of allowed a little bit of leeway before you better fucking pull it because these people gotta get home, man. There's fucking 50 people running around.
It's already expected to be an 18-hour day usually, or 12 to 15 is unfortunately average.
But still, when it's just like you're like, God damn, But everybody was real cool, and it does happen, and we've all, But my guiding thing. I love how much we can talk about this one line I had on this one show.
It's great.
But we can keep talking about. I love that. But I was like...
Oh, real quick, we've gone into golden time, just to let you know.
Oh, it's golden hour? Great.
No, golden time. We've hit the 16-hour mark, so now you get paid your day rate per hour. You're welcome.
That's great. Yeah, right? Thank you. I knew if I busted this take 50 times, we could get there. It's really a secret sabotage to give the extras a pay bump. But yeah, my whole time I'm thinking like, if something goes wrong, you better fucking believe it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
So I'm just like from 7, 8 a.m. the whole day through. I said that line out loud and in my head 1,000,000 fucking times.
Yeah.
It's like 4 lines long, and I just kept saying it. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be able to stop, I don't think. I'd be panicking. I'm glad it came out as it did. It's good. It's a good scene. I was very excited when you were like, I'm going to be on Crazy Mouth. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? So I had to tape it immediately.
I got a call. That's very nice of you. This was before we ever knew of such a thing as Netflix Instant. We still called it Instant back then. I got a call 2 years ago from my buddy Greg Sroka. Shout out Greg. Love you, Greg. If you don't know him, you'd like him. I just get a voicemail from him. I hadn't seen him in months, We hang out occasionally. And I just checked the email, and he's like, so I'm just sitting at home, minding my own business, trying to sit down and watch a little Grey's Anatomy with the wife, when who should I see on my screen mustachioed but you? It's like I filmed it when we were like in an active sketch group together, hanging out a bunch. And I did it then. He was like, that's great. I didn't know you'd already made it.
That's remarkable.
It was very nice.
I love it
very nice
so much. That's so good. Wait, now is that your last one, or do you have another? I mean, that's kind of like a nice. We kind of moved up to your line. Do you have another one you want to talk about?
I have a line. That was the one with the line. There is another just fun little bonus background thing I did.
Go for it.
You can put this later on if you want. I was a background in 2 different videos for the YouTube dude, the hip hop artist, the rapper Watsky.
Okay.
And another, one of which I Gotta Be a Zombie.
Awesome.
That video is called Kill a Hipster. This is a good Emerson contingency. Some friends of mine.
Okay.
A lot of the same people I did that web series with. We're making that video. I Gotta Be Full Zombie, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And there was another one in a studio up in Encino. That was just a day thing. I don't remember exactly what we did in that. But then I was also in this web series with this same thing, and it was just a couple of lines, and it was Dumbfounded presents Run DMZ. And he's a rapper. He spells it like dumbfounded, but like the last 4 letters are DEAD. Run DMZ, like Demilitarized Zone. It all takes place in K-Town. It's Korean Good Burger. It's this real web series on the Loud Network from 2013.
Okay.
Where literally it's about like a small mom and pop Korean barbecue joint where like a bigger mecca global Korean barbecue joint opens across the street.
Awesome.
But,
okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And in the first scene of the first episode, again, I'm like under 5. And I got bumped into this role, and then we had to reshoot it a week later. I'm the white guy trying to order in a Korean barbecue restaurant, and I can't pronounce bibimbap, or I don't know what it is. I'm this touristy hipster, white guy hipster, and it was a lot of fun. And then in the scene right after me, like right in the same scene, not hugely known at the time, is Anderson .Paak.
I don't know.
He was going. Oh, Anderson .Paak in the Free Nationals is a he's a name in music.
Okay.
Like
In music. Okay,
like
well,
his music is big.
Okay.
He's like he's a music guy. And he is known. He's known. He like there's just they include this little bit where he just flicks me in the ear, and a buddy of ours made a gif of it. I'm just like, I still have that. That's it. Yeah. He's playing me. What's funny is our friend Watsky had done a show at the El Rey the night before at the end of a big tour he was doing that year, and like we all knew him, and that's how everybody knew each other. So we all went to go like check it out, and I remember like we went to the break of fucking dawn. And then like I made it home just in time to sleep like 2-3 hours, because then we had to go and reshoot this scene that we tried to shoot a week earlier in the Korean restaurant. But halfway through shooting, the like location guy, the guy who owned the strip mall, was like, "What the? No, get out!"
Oh no.
So like they found another place, and we shot a week later. The morning after this concert, we all knew we were going to.
Right.
So friggin' 2-3 hours into the morning, like I'm supposed to just be sitting there. I've already done my line. I'm just supposed to be sitting there until they finish shooting out the scene. And at one point in between takes, I remember I just get up and I walk outside, and I'm on like 6th Street in K-Town, something, 6th and Wilton, something like that. And I just fucking puke in the street.
Oh no.
And I remember I heard later somebody had said, like on the crew, had said, "Yo, I think that Bebop guy just blew chunks in the street." And the nicest guy was Anderson .Paak. He was like, I come back in, he passed me on the back. He's like, "It's okay, buddy. It happens to all of us."
Right in the oh, you poor bastard. That's phenomenal. You've done a lot, Alex Salem. You've done a lot. Done a lot of good, fun shit.
It's been good, fun shit. It's
I
been
feel
a
like
good, fun thing.
This is a good exploration of extra work and not extra work. Let's do this. We're going to try this. We're going to call this segment 5 and Over for now. If somebody corrects me that it's not called that it's not 5 and Under, then
you
this
call
doesn't
it
make
over
any sense.
5.
Or over 5.
Yeah.
So whatever the fuck we call it, which one of your roles, extra or otherwise, lines or none, do you want to expand into its own spinoff? It can be its own TV series, its own web series, its own movie. It kind of depends on the original. It doesn't have to depend on the original. You know, it doesn't have to be a movie and a movie. But hit me.
I'll tell you exactly who it is.
Yes.
It's the extra in the backyard party in the very first scene of Workaholics.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
I want to know.
Not being as terribly versed in the Workaholics verse, I'll just give you a little primer.
Yes.
Little primer here. What's happening in this scene is these guys are pranksters. You know, they're jokesters.
Sure.
They like to play a good prank on each other. Adam and Blake are watching as Durs is freaking out because he got a sext. He got a sext on his phone from a chick. A chick, bro. She sent him a picture of her nip. It's a nip pic. Hashtag free the nipple. And they're like, well, what are you going to send back, bro? You've got to respond in kind. You got to up the ante. That's how this works. So Durs is freaking out. And I think, I assume he goes into the bathroom and takes a dick pic. I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
And then sends it to the girl. Moments later, everybody at this backyard party at the house that they live in, that they're throwing the party, every single person at this backyard party looks at their phone, and the dick pic has just gone to them. Because there was no chick. It was actually Adam had shaved his nipple and taken a close-up picture of it with a 2010 phone. And sent that out. So everybody at the party's laughing at Durs. Right in front of or behind the action where the guys are having this conversation as this is unfurling, this information is being unfurled.
Sure.
There's another 2 yokels playing fucking beer pong, and I'm one of those yokels.
All right.
Now, the thing I just can't believe is that the button on the scene, the the last thing you see before the very first time they go to opening credits ever in the history of the show Workaholics is me sinking a beer pong shot.
Pretty good.
What I can't believe is that they actually used the one take where I made the shot. Because there were like a dozen takes where not only did I missed bad, and not only did I miss bad, but Adam and Blake would just improvise off of that, usually yelling at me. And it was doubly weird because in general, in life, I'm not good at beer pong. And like dudes I hang out with will typically respond with yelling at me and calling me bad at beer pong. And I already am predisposed to be like, oh no, I suck. But also, I didn't have a mic. I wasn't mic'd. So like they're yelling at me, but I don't know if I can respond or not. So I never really responded.
Right.
So I was expecting, I have no idea. So the fact that they used the take where I sank one and everybody cheers and made me look like a fucking badass, I couldn't believe it. I was so thrilled. So for the over 5 that we need to see is we need to follow this character on a feature-length film, not a series, but probably a 90 to 120-minute film.
All right.
Doing probably a Rocky-style training or comeback where this total noob learns to be awesome at beer pong.
Okay. So what you're saying is it's a prequel to this episode.
It's a prequel to the Workaholics series.
Wow. All right. What's your character's name?
Let's go with Jeff.
Jeff. Okay, that's fine. Now it's not Balls of Fury. We're not talking. It's its own. It's its own.
Balls of Fury is about ping pong.
Sure.
This is about beer pong.
Beer pong. Right.
Different game, Jason.
That's
totally different sport.
Fine. Yeah, I'm sure.
Balls of Fury takes place either in the East or in a terribly offensive white person amalgamated version of the East, where Christopher Walken plays an Asian character, if I recall. I only saw the trailer.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
This, though, is about beer pong, so it will take place on a college campus, possibly in the Midwest.
Okay, that's fine. Do we have a title? What are we thinking? Pressure's on.
Balls. That's all I've got so far.
Okay, that's all you've got. That's fine.
Yeah,
Think about it, Jeff.
Go Balls, Jeff.
Sure.
Jeff Balls.
Is there a town in Iowa that we can use in the title, like that other thing?
Well, what I'm picturing is Ames, Iowa, home to Iowa State University. But I don't think that would be a part of the title.
Okay, that's fine.
It's not part of the title, Jason.
I'm just saying there's a Ball State in Indiana. Is there anything we could work around in Iowa?
Fuck Iowa. I love Iowa. Set it in Indiana. Let's call it Ball State.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's call it Ball State, and it's the beer pong movie of all time. This went from a segment, Jason, to a real thing that's happening.
Who plays your dad? We got to get a little stunt.
Larry Miller, obviously. We've already established this.
You're right.
He played the dean of Medfield College in the mid-90s Disney remake of the Computer Wore Tennis Shoes.
Wow. Who starred in that?
Kirk Cameron. Show me that smile again. Thank you for being a friend.
So good. Alex Salem.
Jason Klom.
You're a delight.
You're a delight.
No surprise there.
No alarms and no surprises.
No alarms, no surprises. Well, I'd like to know what you want to promote. I have no idea when this is coming out, so
that's fine. I just have one thing to promote, no matter when it is, anyway.
Sure.
I'm a producer on the podcast Dirty Girl, available on all platforms. Yada yada. It's cool. My friend Heather Gottlieb talks to women about the taboo subjects women are not supposed to talk about. Dirty Girl. 2 seasons available on the podcast shit. I am a producer on it. It's tight. It's part of the Hoo Ha Ha Network, co-founded by actor-director Elizabeth Banks.
Okay. Delightful.
That
is wonderful. Well, I don't know what to promote other than, you know what, guys? Check me out on this season.
How about like the entirety of Stolen Dress?
Yeah, fine. Go to StolenDress.com. That's where all my podcasts are. I host a show called Comedy on Vinyl about comedy records. Dan and Jay's Comedy Hour. That's the other one we need to get you on, where my best friend Dan and I just talk about our own sketches going back 25 years. And then there's Dispatches from Fort Awesome, a news radio podcast about the TV show News Radio with our mutual friend, Alan Rickert. Alex and I are also both in a show called A Drinking Game. It's a stage show. We drink, the audience drinks. It's a stage reading. It's fun. We just
did
movies
Scream. You know, it's movies you love. We just did Scream.
You just played Billy the Creep in Scream.
You just played played Henry Winkler, Mr. Hembry, who gets killed.
It was
Spoilers.
so much fun. How did that look? I didn't get to see any of it.
I didn't get to see any of it. I was on your left. I wasn't in the.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fun
hoping
time. You could
there's some
feel it
video.
energy-wise. You could feel it. It felt
Absolutely right. I mean, these are the pants I wore. I don't know. If
You already
that
got
has
them clean.
I
From
did.
All the blood?
Yeah, already cleaned all the blood out of them.
Nicely done.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say, check me out on Drunk History this season.
I can't wait to hear more stories about that on the Professional Blur.
At some point, I will have to talk about it. I mean, speaking of Lord of the Rings, I worked with Elijah Wood for 2 hours. You can see me.
Oh my God!
I'm almost. I don't know if you can call that featured or not.
You got it. You got a photo that you put on your stuff where it's Elijah Wood and you.
There's a minute of the whole episode where you can actually tell that it's me, and that's never been the case because it's always me way in the background in Mad Men or something. So, there you go. Check that out. I don't do a lot of extra work anymore, but that is something I did. So that was super fun. Well, there's only one thing left to say, ladies and gentlemen, and that's I'm sorry I missed your thing. I don't own a TV, so. You can find The Professional Blur on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere else you find podcasts. And follow Jason on Instagram @JasonKlom and follow his hashtag, The Professional Blur.
Hey, it's my turn.
Welcome to The Professional Blur. Fuck me!
Did you just blur the words Professional Blur?
I did, yep.
I like that.
Woo! It's going into the end right there.